Los Angeles is a city that continues to get a large number of strange UFO sightings. The U.S. Air Force's Project Blue Book investigated a 1956 sighting just south of the city in El Toro, California. Over an 8-hour period, the UFO is sighted by local residents and tracked by radar. 70 pages of Blue Book files exist, including over 30 photos of the anomaly caught on radar. Helicopters and jets are sent to intercept, but they can't find the unidentified object. The investigators conclude the radar blips are caused by some local phenomenon. The visual sightings are attributed to overactive imaginations. Over the city of Los Angeles, 2 test pilots report seeing an object in the sky. They describe it as pencil-thin, stationary, floating horizontally, and appearing to be solid and metallic. This sighting is filed in Project Blue Book, an American Air Force UFO initiative that investigates over 12,000 UFO sightings between 1952 and 1969, when the project is terminated.
It was an effort by the Air Force to find out what these phenomena may have been and to capture these reports and analyze them and try to figure out if they were any kind of threat to national security. And they looked at 12,000 and change separate sighting incidents that they had reports on. And they developed a way to capture this data and ultimately came to the conclusion that most of these had explainable origins.
Project Blue Book classifies the great majority of the sightings as simply birds, clouds, airplanes, or stars.
Some of them still were listed as unexplained.
Out of the 12,000 cases, 701 remain unidentified. There is no known explanation. The Los Angeles 1954 sighting remains on the Air Force's records as unsolved and unidentified. Edwards Air Force Base remains a hotbed of UFO reports, even from seasoned combat veterans.
I called the office and I said, Edwards, you're not going to believe what I'm about to say.
Since 1942, Edwards remains a UFO hotspot.
There are a lot of UFO stories surrounding Edwards. Some of them are elaborate to the point of being unbelievable, like UFO landings with visitors. Others are vague lights in the sky and objects being tracked on radar.
The U.S. Air Force's Project Blue Book began documenting UFO sightings connected to the airbase. 1947. According to Project Blue Book, an Edwards test pilot sees an oscillating sphere at 12,000 feet. Over the next 3 days, other people at the base also see it. 1951. 2 F-86 pilots attempt to intercept an unidentified flying object at 55,000 feet. The sighting is at first attributed to a weather balloon, but the pilots state the craft had wings and could move at incredible speed. After an investigation, Project Blue Book concluded, contrary to all eyewitness reports, it was a weather balloon. Bizarre sightings at Edwards Air Force Base continued up to the present day. In 1996, another eyewitness report enters into the realm of the unexplained.
I was solo that night.
Mike Larson is an Air Force security officer at Edwards.
And I just pulled over somebody on Mercury Boulevard for speeding.
All right, sir, have a good night. Slow it down, all right?
I gave him a warning, and I was just walking back to my vehicle. They were leaving, and that's when something caught my eye. It was a light off in the distance. What I saw coming pretty much almost dead on. It was triangular shaped, it was large, had a center light, just steady, not too bright. And then on each corner, it had greenish lights on each side. No blinking, no aviation lights. All the lights were steady on. And it moved very slow and it was quiet. There was no engine noise, nothing to identify it as a standard aircraft.
Edwards, Police 4?
And so then I called the office and I said, Edwards.
You're not gonna believe what I'm about to say. I'm seeing an unidentified flying object.
I asked them to confirm to the tower if we had anything flying tonight. The tower said that there's no flying and they don't see anything. And at that point, that's when I said, we'll tell them to look to the southeast. And a few seconds later, then other posts around the base started calling in saying that they saw something as well. It came in this direction and slowly moved almost to the south base side and then over towards Boron. I have 10,000 flight hours. I've been around aircraft, for 20 years. And to this day, I can't tell you what it is.
Did Officer Mike Larson see an experimental craft so secret even base personnel were unaware of? Or was it something even stranger?
I know what I saw. I just can't tell you what it is.
What Larson saw remains a mystery and adds to the Edwards UFO lore.
November 1896. 7 years before the Wright brothers achieve human flight. Los Angeles is a small mining community of 50,000 people when local newspapers report mysterious sightings in the skies of California. It is the beginning of a phenomenon.
People were scared with what they were reading in the newspapers and even seeing in the skies above their heads. Because again, you didn't have anything to compare it to.
They are described as metallic, featureless objects nearly 125 feet long that hover in the night sky. The sightings soon moved down the California coastline to the budding metropolis of Los Angeles.
This happened years before LAX was ever a dream. Human flight had not even taken place yet. Whatever was in the skies above our heads was absolutely unexplainable.
This started a gigantic UFO wave, which involved not only sightings, but UFOs chasing cars down the road, UFOs landing, a number of abduction cases. It was really an extraordinary UFO wave of pretty much unprecedented proportions.
Sightings and accounts of attempted alien abduction are rampant until 1896. But the phenomenon exists to this day.
Did anyone report anything strange tonight?
June 14th, 1992. Police switchboards in Los Angeles are flooded with calls describing a very unusual sighting.
Normally when someone sees a UFO, there's maybe 1 or 2 UFOs. What's really unique about this situation in Topanga Canyon is the number of UFOs that we're seeing. And this, I'm not talking 10 or 20, we're talking literally hundreds.
Encountering multiple UFOs is a very rare occurrence. But what truly makes the sighting unique is how common it is in Los Angeles.
There are regions on this planet that seem to be a magnet for UFO sightings. In a short period of time, hundreds, if not sometimes thousands of cases are reported. We call these UFO hot spots.
These hotspots span the globe. Beijing, China, Brussels, Belgium, Washington, D.C., and Los Angeles, California.
Los Angeles is a major UFO hotspot. The National UFO Reporting Service in Washington, the Mutual UFO Network, each receive reports on a daily basis. And we've got over 5,000 reports for California alone.
But one element makes LA unlike any other hotspot on the globe. A history of encounters occurring from Los Angeles to Long Beach and out to Catalina Island. Together, these locations form an activity-rich area that has become known as the Devil's Triangle of the West.
UFO sightings over Los Angeles have occurred pretty much since the inception of Los Angeles as a city itself. They started in the late 19th century, and they continue all the way to this day.
Now that Los Angeles is this huge, sprawling megalopolis, we are having, tens of thousands of reports of UFOs coming in. So many that, we can't handle them.
Widespread sightings from the 1800s to the present have earned Los Angeles, California, the unique title of a UFO hotspot.
And where are these craft coming from?
But why is this sprawling metropolis, the second largest city in the U.S., victim of an apparent alien invasion?
You, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, do solemnly swear.
I, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States.
2 decades later, newly elected President John F. Kennedy allegedly writes NASA asking for UFO information to solve the enigma.
10 days later, he was shot and killed, assassinated. This UFO subject was so top secret that even at the presidential level, he had trouble finding out the truth.
Kennedy was a transitional president, the potential to really change the course of the 20th century. And what we have learned is that his private agenda was a lot more radical than people knew at the time. He had big plans.
Could the need for UFO secrecy have led to the assassination of a president? A year later, we may have received an answer. In 1964, at the height of the Cold War, Officer in Charge Robert Jacobs heads the photographic squadron at Vandenberg Air Force Base in Lompoc, California.
Robert Jacobs is one of the more important witnesses that have come forward from out of the military and agencies and even NASA with experiences regarding events that seem to clearly indicate an extraterrestrial presence here.
According to Jacobs, his mission was to film an Atlas missile test through all 3 stages of flight off the coast of Big Sur, hours north of Los Angeles. The Atlas was an intercontinental ballistic missile, or ICBM, developed and deployed by the U.S. military to deliver a warhead 100 times more powerful than the bomb dropped over Nagasaki. The missile he would film was outfitted with a dummy warhead.
It was his job to actually track this Vandenberg missile that was shot off, and he was filming it. And he did his job just as he was ordered to do. The missile failed. He mysteriously failed.
In his story, Lieutenant Jacobs states he returned to Vandenberg with the film to be developed. Immediately following their processing, Jacobs was ordered to report to his superior officer.
He was called into his superior's office, Major Mansman, and there were 2 plainclothes people there who wanted to question him about what had occurred. And they showed him actually the film he took of this missile being shot. This is where it gets really interesting.
According to Lieutenant Jacobs, at this stage, a saucer-shaped craft entered the frame.
It's maneuvering around this rocket, which is traveling at many thousands of miles an hour. And all of a sudden, it shoots a beam of light into the warhead at the tip of the missile. Moves around, does another one, moves around, does another one, and the warhead falls off.
The agents in the room take the footage, and Jacobs is told by his ranking officer that he is never to speak of the incident again. Could it be that Robert Jacobs and his team witnessed an alien presence defending their territory off the coast of Southern California? Like the Battle of 1942, this encounter exposes an alien craft seeming to protect the border between California's land and sea. Perhaps our most recent encounter can answer what these craft may be protecting. Unsealed case file, the hidden UFO portal. On November 8, 2010, an event occurred striking fear in the heart of Los Angeles. An unidentified object came from the ocean and launched over the city up into the sky.
When the military was asked about it, they had no idea what it was. They couldn't identify it. The Pentagon, which usually gives an explanation for a UFO event, this time didn't have one.
So remember, there's always a discrepancy between what the military tells you it knows and what the military really knows. So all we have to go on is the military said they knew nothing, but witnesses definitely saw a missile coming out of the Pacific.
But the images captured on tape by LA locals reveal a much deeper secret. When the object's source is triangulated, it is shown to have launched right from the center of Los Angeles's Devil's Triangle. Its origin, what many believe is a UFO portal off the coast of Los Angeles.
The fascinating thing is it might mean there's an underwater base in the Pacific Ocean or in Santa Monica Bay or in the Redondo Trench off Southern California. That has tremendous implications because when people say, how do UFOs get back and forth from outer space? The answer is they don't. They're right here in LA.
Is it possible that an extraterrestrial base is located under the water just outside Los Angeles? If so, why has it never been found? Could it be that this UFO portal is the evidence of an alien city just off the coast of California? A city that has only just now been discovered. Coming up next, a recent scientific discovery reveals that extraterrestrials may not just be hiding beneath our waves, but within the Earth itself. Los Angeles. From the sightings of 1895 to the Battle of Los Angeles and present-day encounters, the secret behind this UFO hotspot may be that aliens have been among us the entire time.
Maybe instead of coming from above, they're simply off the coast of California.
In 2010, scientists revealed this thermal image of structures discovered on the ocean floor off the shore of Los Angeles.
It's a photo of strange dome-like structures, and that whole area is the size of a football field.
Could this be part of an alien city beneath the sea?
This photo shows exactly what they would need, a structure big enough to house a base or even a city.
Los Angeles has always been known as a paradise of beaches, but in the future, it may be known as the place we discovered aliens right beneath our waves.